My name is Steve Marzoff. I'm also the Vice President of the Tree Stewards, but I'm also the person responsible for Track It Forward. It is very exciting indeed. It is our online and mobile application, so you can get to it through a browser on a computer, or you can get to it by an app on your mobile phone. You can download it from either the Google Play Store or the Apple Store. And it's where we track all of your hours, and that's where we keep track of your progress on getting certified and then getting recertified. So there's two different ways of doing hours. One is event-based. So if you're going to go do the weekly prunings, which are Tuesdays and Thursdays, John Grogan, who leads those, puts an event out there, and I'll show you what it looks like. And you can actually go and say, I am signing up for this, and you RSVP for that event. If you do that, that's all you need to do, is sign up for it. And once you do, the person who is organizing the event, in the case of the pruning, John Grogan, he will actually go in and approve your hours. And if it was supposed to be a 3-hour pruning, but somehow you all got done in 2, then he'll put it give you credit for the 2 hours that you were actually there. Now, if you're doing some sort of an independent event, like you're going to a class, or you do something else that maybe do some pruning in your neighborhood, that's a project, not on your own. Then you would go in and do it as an individual activity. And there, what you're doing is reporting your hours after the fact. You don't need to create an event to do hours, but if it's an event, it's easier on you. It's still a good idea to log your hours on that checklist sheet that Dana gave you and told you was in. I think it's a green sheet in your folder. That way you have kind of a double check to make sure. I will tell you, I forget sometimes to put my hours and Track It Forward, or sometimes forget, and I'll notice the difference between what was on my checklist sheet or what was actually in Track It Forward. So it's good to go ahead and do that and have it. So in the next few days, you will get an invitation from me through Track It Forward that looks like this. It'll say, getting started with Track It Forward. It'll have a little brief description, and the blue link right there is what's important. You'll click on that, and that'll take you to Track It Forward, and it will ask you to go ahead and set up your initial login and change your password. I believe we set up the passwords for everybody to be your last name, your temporary password to be your last name with the first letter capitalized. If you have any trouble getting in, let me know. We do have a couple of people with 2 last names. I think one of them is hyphenated, the other 2 weren't. It was how you put it on your form, so that's what we tried to replicate. So if you do have a hyphenated last name, it's capital on both of the last names. If you didn't have the hyphen, in other words, try it with hyphen, try it without. If it doesn't work, call me. We'll figure it out and get you logged on. But once you click on that, then you'll set up your account, and then this is the window that pops up. It'll have your username, which is your email address, and then what the password that you want to change to. And once you do that, then you're in, and you can actually go start finding events. So on the left is what it looks like on the mobile, and on the right is what it looks like on the browser. So browser's a bit easier if you're going to look to see what's up, because it's more in a calendar form, and on the mobile phone it's more on a list. And here you can see, and by the way, that's a couple screen grabs, so nobody's cell phone's quite that long. But you'll see where they have the pruning that was actually today's pruning, which was in Westover Hills, beginning in New Kent. And on the calendar here, that's right here. And if you click on it, then you get to see what the actual event is, a description. It tells you, and basically it's the same information in the 2 formats, and then there's an orange button on there, or an orange button on here that says sign up. And when you hit sign up, it will then pop up and ask you to confirm that. Now there's an ability to put in comments. Until you're certified, put the comment, trainee. That way we know we need to have tools there for you and that sort of thing. So, but that's as hard as it is. And if it is an event from the calendar, that's all you need to do. And from that point on, the organizer will take care of logging your hours. So if you have to do an individual reporting, this is non-event related. This is something you've done on your own, or there was no event created for, like one of those videos that Dana mentioned. This is what it'll look like on the browser. You get this form that's up here on the left, and it starts at the top with the number of hours. And basically it's a drop-down list on the half hour. So round up to a half hour. If you did 2 hours and 20 minutes, that's 2.5 hours. Do 2.5. Then there'll be the date, and under the date is the activity. It's a drop-down list. It's things like pruning, planting, education, administration, those sorts of things. Pick what fits best for whatever it is that you've done. The next thing below that is the project name. Just give it a name. We're doing a planting project in Swansboro West. We call it Swansboro West tree planting. It doesn't have to be more complicated than that. Below that, you have a pick down list for neighborhood. Now, neighborhood's interesting because you can pick one of the neighborhoods that's already listed, or you can freeform it and do one of your own. We are going to try and go in and load more of the neighborhoods in Richmond, so that I think there's 32 of them, so they'll all be there. But if you happen to do something that's someplace else, we do try and look at where the hours are going into which neighborhoods. And then the next 4 fields there, you'll see all have a parenthetical on them that says project leader only. You won't be leading a project for a while, so ignore those 4 fields. But the idea is that they are things like how many trees did we touch, how many trees did we plant, how many non-tree steward volunteer hours were there. Like on our planting in Swansboro West, we will have neighborhood people come and do planting. In fact, Zachary was one who did plantings with us before becoming a tree steward, coming to the tree steward. And then there'll also be how many contacts, educational contacts do we have. Often when we're out pruning, we'll have residents come out and ask us, what are you doing to my tree? And then we'll explain to them what tree stewards are. But again, the person who fills out those forms is who's ever leading the event. So you shouldn't have to worry about that for a while. And if you have any questions about it, ask. We'll be happy to help on that. And then finally, notes. If there's anything you want to explain, recently was watching videos from the Woody Plant Conference, and so I put the information about it there so that it didn't overload the other fields. On the mobile app, it's basically the exact same information, just a bit formatted different. We have the hours, the activity, the neighborhood, and then those 4 fields that, for now, you probably won't use very often. Now, you also have the ability to look at your hours. In the mobile app, you see those lines up in the upper right-hand corner. That's the menu, and if you click on that, you'll see, or I guess you don't click, you use your finger, tap on that, then you'll see a list that says timesheet. This is what comes up, and it will show you how many hours you currently have. Right now, and I think this was actually my wife's, I had to use hers because mine has extra things since I run Track It Forward, but she has 129 hours for this year. And if you do the reporting of hours on Track It Forward, your timesheet comes up automatically on the right-hand side. So you can scroll through and see everything that you've done for that year, pruning, education, and that sort of thing. The top line, the green line, is total hours. The blue line is educational hours. So what Dana was saying, the top one needs to be 10 for recertification, the bottom one 5, and for all of you, it's 20 and 10. So, and that's it. That's all the more complicated Track It Forward is. So.